right, welcome to another episode of Piecing It Together, the podcast where we take a look at a new movie and try to figure out what movies might have inspired it. And today on the show, we are live from Galaxy Theatres Boulevard Mall to talk about the king of pop. We are talking about Michael. And joining me to talk about this one, we have Cabria Patterson, we've got R.E.D, and Miss Treasure. We had a really fun time over there at Galaxy Theatres Boulevard Mall. Great turnout. Thank you to everyone who showed up for that one. And it's going to be a fun conversation here coming up in a second. Before we get to it, I do want to remind you, as always, to make sure you are subscribed to Piecing It Together wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow us on social media at Piecing Pod. We'll be announcing more live shows very soon. So make sure you're following at Piecing Pod on all the socials to find out where we will be next. But with that said, let's get to Michael. What? All right, I'm David Rosen, the host of the Piecing It Together podcast. We're going to talk about Michael. Before we get into the movie, though, I want to introduce my panelists right here. So let's go down the line. Everybody, I want you all to introduce yourself. Cambria, let's start with you.
How you guys doing? My name is Cabria Patterson, and I'm excited to be here.
Tell everybody what you do.
I am a comedian. I've done a lot of entertaining skits online, going viral, and I'm also a hairstylist.
There we go.
That's my real bread and butter right now.
All right.
But Las Vegas native.
Right on. And Cabria, thanks so much for joining us last minute here. We had to fill in an extra seat, so thank you so much for being here. So, Miss Treasure, happy to have you here. Tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, everybody. My name is Miss Treasure. I am also an entertainer. I've done movies, theater, stage play, music, and I have an entertainment company called Indie House Entertainment. And Cabria and I just did a film called Swipe Night. Shout out to Swipe Night, the film, you dig?
Absolutely.
And how y'all doing?
Right on. R.E.D, introduce yourself to everyone.
Hey, what's poppin', beautiful people? Yo, my name is R.E.D. That stands for rapper, entertainer, drummer. I'm always performing, making music. I do a lot of dope things, rapping, entertaining, drumming are just a few of them. Just check me out on Instagram, YouTube, 1M R.E.D. Yeah, you'll see all that there.
I feel like if anyone here could do a moonwalk, it would be you, R.E.D.
Yo, my moonwalk is not as clean as it should be because
right.
I be around, but I'm adjacent to all the people that can really moonwalk.
You just gotta work on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, first thing I want to say is I'm really happy to say I enjoyed this movie. Obviously, the critics have been out for it this week, and it is like getting really trashed, but I don't think it's going to matter come this weekend when this movie opens. I mean, I think the audience here was just having a blast. I don't know how you guys all feel. We'll go down the line. I want to hear from you, first of all, and then we'll get into the whole puzzle piece thing, which is the main thing of piecing it together. But just let us know briefly how you like the movie. Also, I want to know what your favorite Michael album is along the way. So let's go through that.
Oh my goodness, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I felt like I was at a concert. His nephew killed it. Like,
sure did.
I was just like, this is amazing. What was your other question?
What's your favorite Michael album?
All of them.
Yeah, good answer.
All of them.
If you need to, you can go with that as your answer.
I have
so.
to.
Yeah. All right.
That was the easy way out. You cheated.
You
so
cheated.
Well, what's your answer, Miss Treasure?
Oh, mine's has got to be because this album was my favorite album because this was like when I was in my Michael era. Mm-hmm. Like I used to want the S curl and the California curl so I could just shake my little curls in the mirror. But I got to go with the Bad album.
Yeah.
Can you tell? Can you tell?
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I thought the movie was epic, that they did a very good job. Shout out to the nephew. He killed it. You could tell that they really kind of made it come together. I was surprised. Like, I was wondering how it was going to end, so I was happy about how it kind of ended. But, yeah, they did a good job. This was good all the way around.
Right on. How about you, R.E.D?
Yo, first and foremost, I want to commend everybody in the cast because from that standpoint, they did a phenomenal job. And like the performance of his nephew, I love the casting of everybody. I don't know if Joe Jackson really had blue eyes. Somebody got to confirm that for me. Right, he got to confirm somebody got to. But I really enjoyed the performances, but I wanted to see more personally. Like, I felt like I not just saw, because I don't want to downplay everything. Everything was dope, everything was extraordinary, but it's Michael, right? So I just felt like I saw recreations of stuff that I have already seen, like the Thriller video and like stuff like that, and it was cool to see recreations of it. So I'm trying to put myself, if there's anybody on the planet that, like, if someone who doesn't know Michael and isn't familiar with that stuff, so I'm trying to give myself that perspective,
right,
and be like, oh yeah, it's really, really cool, but I feel like they just like barely scratched. Everything was dope because Michael's dope. So, but they barely scratched not barely, but I wanted to just see a little more depth, like
Fair
just
enough.
really like get in there, you know?
Fair enough. And that whole recreation angle is going to come into my first puzzle piece I'm going to bring up in a second here. But you kind of can't erase Colman Domingo's eye color. Like, it's just,
right.
it doesn't work. That's just, he pierces through the screen. But yeah, no. So for anyone who hasn't heard Piecing It Together before, what we do is we talk about a movie through the lens of what movies might have inspired it. It's a little weird with a music biopic because, I mean, it's just basically the story of Michael Jackson. It's going to be a little hard to come up with some interesting, unique ones. But I'm going to start off with what I feel like is the most obvious thing here, although there's plenty of obvious ones we can get into. But speaking of recreations, when Bohemian Rhapsody came out a few years back and basically kind of coasted on recreations of these classic Queen, Freddie Mercury performances, to a degree, I think it's fair to say that this movie is, like you're saying, it's like kind of coasting on things we've already seen, things that we know that he did. We know these songs are so amazing. We know these performances are so amazing. But the nice thing is I feel like they kind of used that and the criticisms of that movie. A lot of people love that movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm kind of in the minority of not liking Bohemian Rhapsody that much, but and actually like did a little bit more with it, which I'm very happy to say. Like, I liked all of the getting into Michael and the things that kind of set him in the path of where he was and being like that childlike person and all that stuff. And so I like that we actually get into all that kind of stuff here, whereas Bohemian Rhapsody is just like musical jukebox movie, like, oh, I love those songs, I want to watch those in a movie theater. And so that's going to be the first one I'm going to bring up here, but let's go on to some more puzzle pieces. Let's go to your first one, Cabria.
Of films that make me think of this.
Yeah.
The Temptations.
Okay.
The 5 Heartbeats.
Mm-hmm.
Those are definitely some classics that come to mind when it comes to piecing this together.
Yeah, and like any movie that's going to tell like this era and this kind of music, I mean, you already kind of have a blueprint in there, and you know, you've got the music. As long as you have the music, you got something to start with, and then hopefully you can tell a good story around it. And
exactly.
So yeah, I mean, definitely that's a good place to kick it off here. So let's go to you, Miss Treasure.
I gotta go with the first one that pops in my mind, which is Purple Rain.
Oh,
you know, got to, because how Purple Rain was created around the album itself. This kind of took you to the ABC Michael that we all kind of grew up with, to the Michael right before, you know, he turned into a different Michael, so to speak. But the Michael that we all kind of grew up and loved, and it kind of, you got to hear those songs that created that and what made him special. And just kind of like piggybacking off of what you said, it was nothing that was too much new, but it was kind of cool to see it from the perspective of his eyes in a little bit. Yeah. Of like, hey, can you get our feet in this particular scene? Because, and just remembering that shot was like, oh, that was Mike's idea?
Right.
Good job, Mike. You know what I mean? So I got to go with Purple Rain.
Love it. Absolutely. And an absolute classic in its own right. So, Red, let's go to you.
Yo, as my shirt says, I'm a product of hip hop. So the very first thing that came to my mind was Notorious.
Okay.
And then, of course, All Eyes on Me, which would be the Biggie and the Tupac movie. The Tupac movie is newer. And especially with that scene where he's learning the dancing from the gangbangers. Because there's a cool little Tupac story, Michael Jackson story that I've heard. If you don't have time, somebody go look it up. I'm not going to tell y'all it because it'll spoil the surprise. But there's a cool Tupac Michael Jackson story that I heard, and it was kind of confirmed with that little scene. And I'm like, oh, snap, that's cool. So
nice.
I had to say that Tupac new movie, All Eyes on Me or Notorious.
I think this was better than both of those movies, but I will say though, and this isn't my next puzzle piece, but just to kind of piggyback on those two, I was thinking of Straight Outta Compton because of casting a family member as Ice Cube.
Absolutely.
That's
so,
cool.
Oh yeah,
The cast
that was really cool. I really
the
loved
casting
that.
was dope.
Well, I will go. You know, I'm going to go with King Richard. As far as Will Smith being this parent of Venus and Serena Williams, who pushing them for worse and better, shall we say?
Cool.
You know,
can
a
see
little
that.
of both,
Yeah,
and
that's
just
a cool one.
an overpowering performance. And again, Colman Domingo is so good, and like, you know, that as soon as I heard that he was cast as Joe Jackson, I was like, oh. You know, if nothing
gonna
else,
work.
this is going to work.
That's gonna work.
Yeah. So, that is just a really amazing performance there and a really amazing presence. So, King Richard. Let's go to another one here.
That was a good one.
That was a good one.
Like, dang.
That was
I've
a
done the
good
show
one.
for a long time.
Ooh, I'm blank.
We can
I'm
skip
blank.
around if you
Yeah,
want.
skip around.
Treasure, let's go to one from you.
Around. It's you know what, it's interesting because there's a lot of movies that kind of come to play, because I think about even with like What's Love Got to Do with it, right?
Oh, that's
The abuse that you had to kind of prevail through, and the outlet in which he let those outlets out in his music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you could tell, just like when he did Beat It, you knew what that was about.
Yeah.
You knew what it was about when he did Bad. That was him saying, I'm here. I know who I am. I know what I can accomplish. I know what I give people, and I know what I bring. And so through everything that I've been through, good, bad, indifferent, the ugly, the yelling, the beating, all of that, I still made it. You know, so kind of like What's Love Got to Do with it, when that scene when, you know, she kind of beat him in the car and she broke free and she ran across that freeway.
Oh, yeah.
That was like that. It was symbolic of I'm free and
Yeah.
I'm about to be me. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean?
And I think that's the most important thing about this movie is like, whether you like it or not, I mean, these songs are just the most iconic songs that of any of our generations, like really. And so
Yeah,
to get some of that behind the scenes, like of
Yeah.
what was going through his mind as he was writing this stuff it's
Yeah.
important, you know? So, Red, let's go to you.
Yo, I definitely want to piggyback on what you said. That was the coolest perspective I took away from this was you really felt, I felt like for the first time ever, I got to see Mike as a human, right? Like normally we always get this larger than life perspective of Mike, but this was the first time ever where like, I just saw him as like, oh, okay, like he's just chilling. He real keep to himself. Like this is the first time I ever just saw him and I thought that was cool. And that had to be a real intentional choice to show him that way, right? Because they always show him the other way. So it was really cool and like, yeah, it's just like he one of us type thing, and I thought that was real cool.
Yeah, I liked all the stuff of him, like alone, like with Bubbles and all that
Really
stuff. Like
epic.
you're really getting like the inside,
The inner child, which we all have. And it was like, it was his way of saying it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, because we
Yeah.
all question that. You know, you're 40-some-year-old goofy adult, and it's like you're doing too much, or you're not serious enough. And it's like, why do I have to be if that's not what I want to be at this moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, to that point, I'm going to go with Finding Neverland as another puzzle piece here, as
Okay.
far as the story of the guy who wrote that story and obviously inspired Michael for years and years to come. And I feel like you kind of have to have inspiration from that story to tell Michael's story. And so it all kind of comes back around here. And that movie is also about how all these sparks of inspiration that he had in writing that story, came from his desire to kind of have that childlike worldview and to stay in that kind of a life. And so it's a really great movie. Johnny Depp is in it. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, I always love that movie.
Yo, I just had the epiphany. I just finished watching This Is It on YouTube. And it's so interesting because like that picks up towards the end of Michael's life.
Sure.
Right. Like that's his last tour. This is it. So I feel like I just watched the prequel.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
It's
like,
so true, yeah.
Because that was, even though that was like a real life documentary, I feel like I got to see what was going up to that, and yeah, that was really cool.
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of people are talking about like if this movie is like a huge hit, like are they really going to continue the story? Because obviously we start getting into some of the dicey allegations and stuff like that.
Exactly.
But that is the the sequel, kind of. This is it. So
That's
It's like a to be continued for sure.
yeah.
I was waiting for it, dog. I was just waiting for like, I was born in '97, so my perspective of Michael Jackson is we didn't even get to that yet.
Yeah.
We like
Right.
we didn't even get
The
to
Michael
like,
that you know.
yeah, like all I want to say is that they don't really care about us and like where like I think it's so interesting because where was his head at, or like did anybody catch like the foreshadowing with the Pepsi thing?
Yeah.
Like that was such an interesting thing of like his dad was the one talking about we don't want to be Pepsi, and then the Pepsi, and then
There it is.
like
yeah.
is and it's, those little things was just like I like that attention to detail. That was cool.
I'm still stuck on Born in '97. I was 17. I was in love with
young.
Dangerous. It was like the best album in the world.
97.
Oh man!
Dang.
All right, you got another one you want to bring up?
What
here?
about James Brown? Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah!
That's where
You
he
know,
got his
and-
dance.
What was that
from.
movie called? Get
On Up.
Get on up.
Get
right?
On Up.
Yeah.
That
I
one
mean,
just came
his
out too.
talent was also unmatched.
Sure.
He exuded confidence. He was a little much. He wasn't always the kindest. I think like, Michael's spirit was, but definitely one of a kind. Definitely inspired Michael.
Yeah, it literally inspired him as a
Yeah.
person. So yeah.
Oh yeah, he was watching it, doing the videos
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wait, can I ask a question? Am I allowed to?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, how does everybody feel about Bubbles?
I mean, you
I
gotta
just have
elaborate.
that's my only question. No, because
I don't think it was like a real monkey there.
that's the only. I feel like
Is it
They
CGI
like
monkey?
edited the
Yo,
monkey
I
in, but
feel
I
like
was, it was
It was
cool,
like
I guess.
CGI. It's a CGI monkey.
but I
type
feel
thing.
like
Yeah.
it's 2026. Like something about that CGI monkey. We shouldn't have all thought the same thing just now when I said the name. Like
I mean,
maybe
but
they
it
should have
was
used the real
cool.
monkey or like.
I guess they didn't have nobody.
Monkeys are dangerous.
But you know,
too.
it was kind of like in Martin when they didn't have a real dog. You know what I'm saying? So they just was. It was.
Yeah.
It worked. It
It,
worked.
no, it did
You know
work.
what I'm
It
saying?
did.
It worked.
Once you
Is Martin a
suspended your
puzzle piece
disbelief.
here?
It's Martin.
Yeah, let's do it.
I mean, because they was like, we couldn't get the dog,
Yeah.
so we gonna get this,
There
and
you
nobody
go.
really knew. So I
Love
mean,
it.
It was just the moment. It was
Yeah.
just the moment.
I'm all for Bubbles. I do wish he was real.
I know.
Right, but I'm
He was
thinking now
real
you
in
probably
my
might not
mind.
even
Yes,
like.
in
in
all of
my
our
mind,
hearts.
he was real.
They might not
Definitely.
even let you use a real monkey these days on set. Like,
That's true.
Peter might
That's
not.
the future, you know.
Yeah,
That's
Peter
true.
might be outside your door. you know?
What? Speaking of which, watch Better Man, the Robbie Williams biopic, where he just makes himself a monkey for no reason, and it's incredible.
It's called what?
It's called Better Man.
Better
Okay.
Man.
Yeah, wild,
Okay.
wild movie. That's
Audit.
just a little recommendation there. But
Okay.
let's go into some more puzzle pieces. Anybody else got?
I got a couple.
okay.
They're not even musically related.
Okay.
But I gotta go with That Never Ending Story
Okay.
and Dr. Dolittle.
Okay, yeah.
Dr. Dolittle.
Because like, you know what I'm saying? Like
it did feel like
I
Dr.
feel
Dolittle.
like Michael understood the animals, y'all.
He did.
Uh-huh.
I
was.
feel like he kind of knew what Bubbles was saying. Ben. He made a story about Ben. He made a story about Demerol. I
Yeah.
mean, it's a lot going on in that. And then when you take the never ending story, how you have this fantasy, because he was still a kid at heart because he didn't have a childhood.
Yeah,
So Neverland, never ending story.
absolutely.
I think it goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into the audience in a second here, but I do want to throw one more out there as something, because there was that kid that was dancing here, and I know he had to go home and go to bed, but he was amazing. Give it up for that kid. He was awesome.
Yeah.
But we are in Las Vegas, and I wanted to bring up the Michael Jackson 1 Cirque du Soleil and MJ Live shows, because both show that his music's going to live on for
Forever.
generations and
Yeah.
generations, and this is just another kind of piece of that puzzle of continuing to take that music and just introduce it to all new people, just like these
Yeah.
Michael Jackson Vegas shows have been doing.
Yeah.
So
And I've seen one of them in there.
too.
It's pretty epic.
I bet
Those
it
shows are
is.
It is
phenomenal.
pretty
Those shows
epic.
are those shows
good.
are phenomenal.
Right
Those shows
on.
are
Right
phenomenal.
on. Well, I want to get into the audience, see if we have any puzzle pieces out here. And I do have some prizes from Wax Trax Records, the record store that I run, for anybody who chimes in here with something. So right here, we got one.
I just thought the whole scene with the rat was absolutely just a reference to Ben, the movie
Yeah.
Ben, which was since I'm a little bit older than I think a lot of you guys here.
I got you, sis.
I remember playing Ben on a little organ as a kid. That was like my
Nice.
first introduction to a Michael Jackson song. It was I don't know, first grade or something. But yeah, the whole reference to the movie Ben, which is the kid that has no friends and that only talks to the Rat, and I thought, I was glad because they hadn't played the Ben song yet.
Sure.
And I was like, I hope they play Ben.
Yep.
So yeah, I just wanted to chime in that I remember the movie Ben.
Love it.
That's
Love
a
it.
good one.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Oh, Mom's coming on. Let's see what happens here.
After Ben was Willard.
Right. After was Willard with Crispin Glover.
Ben
Yeah.
was loving.
That's Killer Rats. We're not talking about Killer Rats, but yeah.
Okay, so
It's Ben with a twist.
Yeah.
I don't remember the movie too much at all, but I remember vaguely Ray, which I thought was phenomenal.
Ray's
Jamie Foxx
fantastic.
may have
Yeah.
even won an Oscar for it. But I have a personal story, of course. So when I was very young, like 3 years of age, I had this friend in the apartment building, and then she moved from Brooklyn out to Long Island, and she lived in a really, really nice area. Like her neighbor 3 doors over was the founder of Nathan's. So she was in a really special place. So as we grew up together, even though I stayed in Brooklyn, I'd go out there on weekends, her father would take me. She had a best male friend, and he was not his family wasn't comfortable. It was a very, very, really wealthy area, but his mom was divorced, and he had a part-time job, and bowling alley and all. Long story short, her best male friend.
Is it?
And you can all Google it. Is a kid named Sandy Gallen, Galli, and he died probably 5-10 years ago. Sandy was Michael's manager for about 5 years, including the Super Bowl show. And I ran into him.
He took over after the Miles Teller character, I'm guessing.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I ran into Sandy when he was working with Steve Wynn, and I said, we used to play together. But he had no clue who I was. He went on to manage like Dolly Parton and a million people.
Story
like
got a
Michael
sad turn at the
for
end.
years. So
I believe you, Mom. I believe you.
Thank you.
Gina, save us from my mom, please.
Am I allowed to ask a question instead of a puzzle piece?
Sure, go for it.
Has it ever been like,
I like the Ben.
has anyone ever like speculated that Joe Jackson was possibly the one who started the whole controversy with Michael Jackson? Because it seemed like this movie is foreshadowing something, that maybe the family is going to come out with something like about.
I have read that like
It makes
idea
a lot of
before,
sense.
and I don't know,
It's a
you
way
know.
to destroy him.
Yeah, and it should be said also, this movie, like part of the reason I was worried it was going to be bad is because the end of the movie was supposed to start getting into some of the allegation stuff, and they literally cut the last third of the movie because of legal reasons and reshot
That's
the
what I
whole
heard.
ending, which
Yeah,
that
that's what I
never
heard.
works out.
Okay.
I know that's what I heard, and I felt it. I don't want to like spoil anything, but I kind of felt like that. Like even when we got to where it ended, I was like, "Damn, that's,
Yeah, the
Like, this is how
cutoff.
it's going.
Yeah.
damn, okay,
Yeah.
that's where it
Yeah.
where it goes."
This movie made an argument that he's innocent.
I
I feel like it did. It made that statement like
and to be
Well, the
fair, the
Epstein
family's
files
never
prove
gonna. Well, yeah.
The Epstein files prove that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think to be fair, the family was never going to sign off on a movie that
No.
doesn't, you know, but
No.
but still, I mean, you know, we could believe whatever we want to believe, you know. There was an entire thing, and he was found innocent, and it is what it is. The music lives on, and here's the movie we're all watching. So,
Right.
you know, right over there.
Well, I'm a Motown baby.
All right.
All right.
And my big sister, Cindy Birdsong of the Supremes.
All
So
right.
I lived it. I lived the Motown. I watched a lot, was around a lot of famous people, you know. As far as Michael goes, and what I know about the family, and I worked for, without saying the T, if y'all understand, because it's a confidentiality thing.
Right.
When you're in the entertainment industry. I'm in the entertainment industry. I'm the queen of Las Vegas Entertainment, capital of the world, nations USA ambassador, but I still gotta be careful. Because we're talking about people's lives here. Right?
Sure.
And you said it so well. The family is not going to co-sign on something that not only is going to put their legacy in a bad light, but even their
Absolutely.
son, which unfortunately, yes, he did have issues.
Sure.
We can clearly all see that, even growing up from a child.
You can see it in the movie.
But even with the dad, for me, because I've been around the Jacksons, okay? Joe was more the man of not wanting his children to live what he lived when he was a child you really know his story, and then working at the steel mill.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted more for them. He was more of that disciplining dad. If I got to beat you,
Beat it
what
into
his
you.
problem was with Michael, I do believe. Michael became the man I believe that Joe wasn't. If that makes sense.
Or that he wanted to be.
Exactly. That's why there was so much friction.
Yeah.
And again, the T with, like you said, Catherine. Now y'all think she ain't say a lot, but she said a whole lot when it came to Michael. Because Joe was always putting in him a place. If you really know the story from the beginning, Michael couldn't do nothing right with Joe. He didn't even sing with the group in the beginning. It was always the Jackson, boys, all that. Michael had to beg Joe to let him sing with the group. Finally, he gives him that little in, and then Michael just took over.
Yeah.
Right.
Because he's Michael.
That's why he was with that. So I don't really want to talk too much, but I just want to share with y'all.
Yeah.
Because when I saw the 25 show, and I will tell a little tea because I know the truth of a lot of things.
Tell it.
I told y'all. My
It's our
sister was at
secret.
that show, and she hated Diana's guts.
Yeah, there was nothing.
Because if you saw the movie Dreamgirls, that's really Cindy Birdsong and Diana Ross story. Diana Ross didn't like Cindy because now Barry was falling in love with Cindy and wanted to put her in the front. So you really got to watch the storyline to really know what's going on.
Gonna go watch it again when I
Good
go
movie.
Like you said, there's stuff that they want to say, but because of the legality of it,
Right.
they can't say.
Sure.
Of course.
For me personally, and I'm just going to say it, yes, I went all wild, book wild crazy. I was so in love with Michael when he came out with I Want You Back, and then you turned it over. I didn't even know Who's Loving You was on it. And I just fell in love. My oldest son today is named after Michael Jackson. He'll be 50 years old in September.
All right. There we go. There we go.
Do you think that was a fair depiction of Joe Jackson, or do you think
Not
that
at all.
Okay.
I disagree because security, undercover
Yeah.
with the Jacksons.
Yeah. Okay.
Giving awards, whatever. Mr. Jackson is one of the most wonderful people. Now, he mean me now. He is mean. He got that side.
Yeah.
So, like, when you get the directors, what not to do with the security, tell them people don't take no pictures of me. That's what we mean. That's what they're asking for.
Although I will say, my mom has a picture with him. Yeah.
And I do. I have one with Joe.
Joseph came to our
I
radio
got
show
one with Joe.
and to
I
our
do.
store Wax Tracks
I met him.
Records.
Yeah.
And he was a complete gentleman. He was working with another singer. He was partnering with somebody from an obscure 60s group, let's say. And they were putting on some acts in various lounge shows around town. And we had to, of course, reciprocate and go see these shows. Oh, and talking about shows, the man sitting next to me, he has a group called Spectrum for
Amazing
probably about 30
shows.
years now. And his group will be at Smith Center on Mother's Day at 6 p.m. There may be some tickets left, and there's a girl group called Radiance. And in his show, not every one of them, but in his show, these guys, and not one of them is probably under 50, they do a Jackson 5 tribute.
No.
Nice.
Fantastic.
To just finish with Joe,
He was very
we
nice.
did the BMA Awards here at the live here.
Mm-hmm.
I was assigned to Joe Jackson and his team. We get directives what not to do with these entertainers. Some of them get very aggravated. If we say what we say, don't do it, because they're not coming back.
That part.
That night, I want to say Fuqua was there, and we did it with the Funkadelics. Okay.
Nice.
It was real big. Okay, yeah, you was there. Now, my Aunt Mary, did you see her stop the whole band and talk to me? Great. She was like, but I'm just saying, as far as Joe Jackson, he was older then. He was, he's not ready to die. Let's just put it that way. No, I'm saying at that time.
Yeah.
It's only a couple years ago. But to really sit down and talk with Mr. Jackson, he was a man of a lot of wisdom. There used to be a place up there called Nietzsche up there with a Blue Martini. It was a year when the gentleman came in. Anyway, he came in for a word. I just want to say this real quick because I was sick that night. But they wanted me to stay back there with Mr. Jackson and them, just kind of keep him company.
Mm-hmm.
The nicest man. He never, ever, You know, so I really think over the years, when I know the entertainment industry, when they want to put salt on you, I really think that's what happened to him in a lot of ways.
So he was more passionate
I
about
think
making
he's more
sure his
passionate.
kids were successful.
I'm sure.
Yeah, he was right.
Kush, you got something?
Sure.
He's terrified.
I'm not terrified because they haven't been talking across me. But in any case, you all named, I'm not familiar with the total setup where you use the puzzle and how you use the puzzle pieces, but I got an idea.
Sure.
And you named several of movies that had strong black men in them that directed the way their careers went. James, Ike.
I can see that.
I don't have to name them all, but anytime they're portrayed, it's some evil, butt-kicking guy who has no compassion, who all he did was beat somebody until they left him. But you all may be familiar with the football player who was given jail time because he beat his kid. I think he was with the Minnesota Vikings.
Adrian Peterson.
Thank you. Now, I got spankings as a kid. I'll call them spankings, but sometimes they were beatings. That's more like it. And if you come out the black community as a dad, treating your kid like a white kid, they're gonna act like a white kid and get their ass beat by the police. So you gotta bring them up so they know how to act around elders, around in public. They can't have the police stop them and say, "What you stop me for?" It's gotta be, and just in general. So for Joe Jackson and Ike and James Brown and all those people to always be depicted when it's put on the big screen as somebody that needed to go, they got whoever they got up to where they got them. And I hate to say it, whether it's Lionel Richie, Michael Jackson, white people say, we don't need all those black people. We just need the star. And whatever it is about some entertainers, they go with that, and they're blinded by the light.
Yeah.
I sort of get tired. I mean, my father was a disciplinarian, and he didn't take no mess, and he kept my sister and I, as a single father, widower, he kept us on the straight and narrow. We went through college. We're both doing fine. But that doesn't always happen if you don't have a disciplinarian. But then they want to depict the disciplinarians as somebody evil that we shouldn't be like.
Because they were disciplined.
Yeah.
So as soon as they get out in the world, everybody's trying to discipline the kid.
Right.
With a backhand, with getting kicked out of school for acting a certain way. So I just wanted to point out in this forum that that depiction, I think it's probably always false. I've met Joe Jackson. I've taken a picture with him. I've talked to him. But I just don't appreciate that constant depiction. And I hate to say, I know there's some white folks, not too many. As soon as they see somebody black, managing something to a level that they want it.
Yeah.
Oh, all the dirty work's done. We don't really need those other four boys. The four tops, who I had the pleasure of my group impersonating for 6 years in Legends and other shows like that, they stayed together for 40 years. They had one lead singer. They didn't have a Temptations where almost everybody could take a lead. They had one lead singer for 40 years. And Levi Stubbs did not let them break up the group and take his voice and leave his friends behind. So, you got to have some discipline. You got to have some focus. If you come from the black community, you have to understand how people will try and break you up to make as much money off of you until they wear you out. Michael was smart enough not to get worn out and to be able to tie his family in somewhat monetarily, but I just had to say some combination of those things.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Hey, Coco, make sure I get a clip of that.
He was the voice of one of the most evil things in the movies and on stage.
Oh, Little Shop of Horrors.
Yeah, Little Shop of
absolutely.
Horrors.
Yeah.
Feed me, Simo.
We got to get into some plugs here in a second and wrap this up. I do wonder how if Antoine Fuqua wanted to get into some of what you're talking about, because that is really interesting, and if he wanted to take it in any kind of story like that. But obviously they put the name Michael on the top and it's just about that. But I do wonder if he wanted to be a little more complex with it. But yeah, let's get into some closing thoughts here and also plug whatever you guys have going on. So just any closing thoughts, anything we didn't really talk about that you wanted to mention, and then tell people where they can find you.
Well, you can find me at Cabria Patterson online, Cabria, if you want to laugh until you pass out.
She hilarious.
I think you'll find something there. That's on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And also the movie trailer that
Swipe
Treasure and I
Night.
have done, Swipe Night, is going to be getting released soon online, so everyone could see it. And it's about a guy who goes on 5 dates from online dating. We are one of the dates.
Yeah, not together.
Not together.
Not together.
We're
Thanks
two
for
of the dates.
clarifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each. We gotta.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's entertaining. It's wild, and you'll enjoy it.
Did he smash?
You gotta watch.
You gotta watch.
You gotta watch it.
You gotta watch.
You know what that term
You right on the money. That's a great question.
Good question. Yeah.
Brother here, he will not tell you. He graduated Princeton with an engineering degree.
Come on now.
He has a T-shirt. He has a T-shirt. I once saw him wearing it, and I said to him, "You ever wear that again?" Right upside the head. It's a picture of Prince, and under it, it's 3 letters, T-O-N. And I went over to him. I said, "No,
Princeton.
never again."
Oh, that's good. That's a good shirt. Princeton. Very good. Miss Treasure,
funny.
plugs and any final thoughts you wanted to mention.
Final thoughts is definitely go see the movie. It was phenomenal. And shout out to everybody that was involved with it. You can find me on all social media under I Am Miss Treasure. I do have a few songs that are getting ready to be released, so y'all stay tuned for that. One of them is called Get Off Me. And it's just going to be an anthem to the world, just kind of like Michael Jackson is bad.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And like Cabria said, y'all stay tuned for Swipe Night, the film. I am one of the dates, and it gets a little greasy. It might be a little smashing going on. But it do get a little greasy in there, you know what I mean? So, but yeah, I'm an all-around entertainer, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I am Miss Treasure on all platforms.
All right. How about you, Red?
Yo, well, first and foremost, really, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having me.
For
Thank
sure.
you, guys. Shout outs to the Boulevard Mall. I love it here. This is the only mall in Las Vegas that has a movie theater in it, and I think that's crazy that malls don't have movie theaters in them. So I love this mall so much. Final thoughts on the movie. It was great. Okay, for me, it was like I said, I wanted to see more. So let me not say, but I want to give my utmost props and respect to all the actors and everybody did their thing. That's how I feel about it. Everybody did their thing, and it was cool. I would love to see like whatever version the director got, like the real director's cut, the version that nobody else got. Like he's like, nah, I would love to see that actual version for this movie. Is how I feel. Yeah, but it was really, really cool. I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm grateful to see it. It makes me want to go. And I feel like that was the point, but now I'm finna go listen to Michael on the way out of here. So now they finna get a billion more Michael streams, and that's amazing. You can find me on YouTube and Instagram at 1MRED. I just like art, so we're always making some type of dope music, art, and also If you want to figure out what's happening in Las Vegas, you can find us at ntdlv.com. That's There's Nothing to Do in Vegas. On Instagram, we just show all of the people, the community, culture, art, all the cool stuff in Vegas that's not designed to eat your money, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, check us out. I'm grateful for this experience, and I want the director's cut.
I wonder if Janet is in the director's cut.
Yo, I feel like they had to write her in, right? And then write her out because you've seen the stuff. So they was like, oh, she was in there. And then it was like,
That agreement.
kept going, where was Janet?
I didn't see the controversy. I'm like out the loop. I gotta go. I've been hearing about it, but I mean,
She just didn't want to do it, I guess.
Coco sitting next to me like, where is Janet?
There was no agreement. The agreement didn't have the right verbiage in it. That's
There you
what
go.
happened.
There you go.
It's in
They needed to
politics.
fax her.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yo, that was hilarious.
Yeah, that
the
was good.
facts, I really do like, there was some little comedic touches, and whoever was in charge of that, like the giraffe, the little fax machine.
Yeah.
There was some little
I think
comedy
that really
moments. I was like,
happened.
I hope so. I hope
I mean,
so.
I think it really happened.
Yeah.
that was cool.
Well, we will hopefully be back here at Galaxy Theatres Boulevard Mall. If you enjoyed this show, make sure to let them know that this was a fun night for everybody. And we'll also be back at Maya Cinemas next month, so check piecingpod.com and my socials at piecingpod for all the info on what we got coming up. I want to thank you guys so much for being here. Thank everybody that stayed for the podcast, and that's our show for tonight. Thanks, everyone.
thanks for having us.
Thank you,
Peace,
guys.
thank you, praise God. Amen.
Hi, this is Wax Trax Records here on 2909 South Decatur. We buy all your old 45s, your old albums, any type of music memorabilia. Also, we sell music memorabilia, albums, CDs, and a lot. Come on down to Wax Trax, 2909 South Decatur, or give me a call at 702-362-4300. Thank you very much.
All right, so I hope you enjoyed that conversation about Michael. Thank you again to R.E.D, Miss Treasure, and Cabria Patterson. We had a great time over there at Galaxy Theatres Boulevard Mall. Thank you so much to them for having us, and thanks to everyone who showed up. As long as you keep showing up to these shows, we're going to keep doing these shows. So we will be announcing more very soon. But for now, just make sure you are subscribed and following us at Piecing Pod on all of the socials. You can also subscribe to my mailing list by going to piecingpod.com. And also, thank you to my store, Wax Trax Records, for sponsoring the prizes for today's episode. So if you are a Michael Jackson fan, you should be at Wax Trax Records because we have some amazing stuff, but also all kinds of music, all kinds of vinyl, CDs, cassettes, memorabilia, everything you could think of, you will find there. Soundtracks. This is a movie podcast after all. Come down to Wax Trax Records, 2909 South Decatur Boulevard, and come hang out with me. Talk about movies with me. Also, if you want to come hang out with me on one of these podcasts, get in touch. I'm always looking for new people to join these panels. But that does it for today's episode. I already told you all the places you can follow us. You can also follow us on Patreon, the Produced by David Rosen Patreon, where I post bonus and advanced content from Piecing It Together, Awesome Movie Year, and my music career. It's patreon.com/bydavidrosen. You are supporting by listening. You're supporting by sharing, by showing up to these live shows, but you could also support by signing up for the Patreon. So let's close this out with a piece of music like I always do. And let's see. You know, there was a track on my most recent album, Missing Pieces, that a friend of mine said reminded him a lot of a Michael Jackson track. So I'm going to play that. And that is a track called Falling for Faith. Again, it's from my album Missing Pieces. This is, my instrumental music. So you won't be hearing me going, making any of those Michael Jackson noises or anything like that. Just an instrumental. But that being said, hopefully you'll enjoy this track, and we will be back with more Piecing It Together real soon.
an All Points West production, produced by David Rosen in Las Vegas.
Test. Everybody give me a little test over there.
Testing.
1 2 1 2.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Mic check 1 2 1
1
2.
2 3 4 5.
All right. We got a little family reunion happening right there, so. Hey, Mom. Podcast time, Mom. Podcast.
Wait, but then it's your mom. That's what
She'll talk through the podcast, too, so don't worry.
He's like, Mom,